those of you that follow me on Instagram, I posted recently that I was going to do an update on the next turbo I was going to put on here, but I decided to change gears a little bit. Turbo is actually just right there. But before I do that, I wanted to do a quick video on transferring the wiring from a 7MGE to a 7MGTE. Now, I already have all the wiring here. So this here is the wiring harness for the 7MGE, and over here is the wiring harness for the 7MGTE. Now, I didn't go out and spend the money on all this stuff. Obviously, the harness came with the car already. This harness over here is for, like I said, the GTE. Local super guy here was getting rid of a bunch of stuff and gave all this stuff to me for free. He gave me the wiring harness, a couple of the 7MGTE ECUs, cam position sensor, and all the other stuff that I would need to basically do this swap. So now I've already got some feedback from you guys. Why would you pull the distributor, put a cam position sensor in there? Why would you take old wire and just replace it with old wire? I want to try to make it more simple for when I do the ECU masters. It'll be that much easier just to start pulling wires and stripping wires out of the wiring harness that I don't already need. That being said, before I go into this, what I wanted to do for you guys today is kind of go through the wiring harnesses and show the differences between the GE and the GTE. I've kind of read somewhere too that people are like, well, can't you just put it in a CPS, like the cam position sensor, where the distributor goes, and just plug in the GE harness? It doesn't work that way. It uses different igniters, different connectors, and it just doesn't work. It's got a different set of things that it's doing that the GTE ECU is doing versus the GE. Now, I know there's two different types of harnesses. You've got the yellow plugs, and then you've got the gray plugs. If you have a gray plug harness in your car, sorry, I know you probably clicked on the video hoping that I was going to go over that. I don't know what the differences are between the two, but I can tell you right now, the GTE, GE harnesses are pretty similar. You're going to start with the same plugs here. Okay, so you've got all the same existing plugs. Over here, you've got all the same existing plugs that match up, with the exception of some like this. This harness doesn't have that. And there's going to be a couple subtle differences here. But for the most part, you're going to have a lot of the same connectors. Yeah, that one's cut. And there's another one over here, which is this guy right here. The two harnesses are pretty similar, but like I said, what I wanted to do is go through the harness. It's going to be kind of a little bit of a dry video, but I want to identify the plugs for you guys because it's kind of hard to find that stuff now, especially on super forums. There is one forum out there, or one post on the forum out there, that's really awesome. The guy goes in and he shows like each connector and tells you exactly what it is and the pinout and all that stuff. I'm not going to show you the pinout, but I'm going to hopefully help you identify the different plugs. So starting on this end, you're going to have the yellow plugs that are going to plug into the ECU. The ECUs are going to be different. 7MGTE versus the 7MGE are different ECUs. You can see here, if you guys need the part numbers or anything, whatever. So there's 7MGTE manual transmission. The other one says 7MGE. Okay. There's a couple of differences. This guy right here, I believe, is the plug for your turbo indicator. So on the turbo model, it's got a sensor. When the turbo's coming on, there's a little turbo light on the dashboard. So the ECUs are going to look pretty similar as far as the the yellow connectors, but they are going to be different. So make sure you get the correct ECU, or if you're like me, just go full standalone and throw this thing right in the garbage. Okay, so right off the bat, the similar connectors we have are this one, this guy right here, which is cut. I don't know what this one goes to. I know we're off to a good start already. But if you look over here on the GTE harness, you got the same thing, yellow and black, yellow and black. Obviously it's been cut for a little while, haven't used it for anything. So, and then this one's cut on this side as well. So when I got this harness from the guy, there was a lot of wires already cut and kind of hacked apart, and I had to go in and replace a lot of stuff and kind of fix it. And I just left some of the stuff out that I didn't need. The next one we're going to have is the reverse light. So it's going to be yellow, red. This one's just longer. It's up by the harness. On my harness, it is going to be this guy right here. So you can see, sorry, easy there. You can see it's kind of broken up in yellow, red, white connector. It's all covered in oil, which is awesome. And that's what's going to be this guy over here as well. Red, yellow. So what I'll do is when I go to put this harness on, I'll just de-pin that other little white connector. That connector is going to go into a plug that's in your transmission. That's going to be the sensor for when you put it in reverse. That'll kick on the tail lights. I'm going to try to move rather quickly through this just so this video is not forever long. But the next wire here is going to be for your knock sensor. The 7M GTE wiring harness is going to have 2 knock sensors. The 7M GE is just 1 knock sensor. So keep that in mind. I'm going to try to run just the 1 knock sensor. If I need to, I will drill into the block and tap for a second knock sensor. I know it'll probably be a good idea to have that, but for right now, I'm only running with the 1 knock sensor on the GE. This is going to be some of your emission control stuff. So you're going to have these little brown and blue plugs. I don't use those for anything. They just dangle inside the engine bay. I don't know exactly what they even go to, but, and then here is your knock sensor for the GE. It is 1 single plug, and that'll just clip right onto the knock sensor. There's been some issues here where this got melted, so it's just covered. I'm going to fix all this stuff. I know it's just horribly put back together, but you guys get the idea. The next will be this guy right here. So you're looking at kind of a teal colored wire. You're going to have 2 of those, one with a black line, one without. Blue with a black line and blue with a white line. This is going to go to your coil packs. If I end up missing something, which I'm sure I probably will, or I'll probably get something wrong, I'm just hoping that I can identify the right connectors for you guys. But if I do miss something, hit me up in the comments, and I can either do an updated video or whatever to help you guys that are trying to go through the same process as I am. So I apologize if I'm missing something or have maybe the wrong information here. I'm still kind of learning some of this stuff, but I'm showing you what I've come up with so far. Okay, and the next guy is going to be this one. White plug, yellow white wire, GTE harness, same thing. White plug, yellow white wire. Again, that's not something that you actually need. I don't think I even use this one on the GE harness. I think it just stays unplugged. Okay, and then injectors. Went through and I labeled them. I'm running these different injectors or injector clips because I'm running the Fuel Injector Clinic 1000cc injectors. Before you just start cutting stuff apart, make sure you label them so you don't lose which wire goes to which. But so for injector number 6, you're going to have a white wire with a red line and a solid black. For number 5, you're going to have a solid white wire with a red wire. No lines in that. For number 4, which is this guy right here, you're going to have a white with a blue line and yellow with no line, just a solid. For the next set of injectors, so I've kind of put the 2 together because the way I run it, so you got the last 3 and the first 3 are kind of together. Number 3 injector, we're going to trace the wires through here, follow it through here, which is going to be this guy right here. Solid white wire and a solid red wire. Number 2, we're looking at a white and red with a black. And number 1, last but not least, trace the wires through here. White with blue line and yellow. Now the injectors are batched, meaning that 2 of them are hooked together. I don't know the sequence of that. I would have to dig through and find it. There's lots of stuff that tells you how to do it. If you're doing a standalone ECU, you can actually just wire each individual injector right to the standalone, and then you can fire each injector by itself. You don't have to do this batching stuff. The other thing too with the injectors that come on the GE or the GTE are low impedance injectors. So if you're going to run a high impedance, you got to think about that before you run that stuff. It's something that you're going to have to sort through. Okay, so that was injectors. This guy right here is your idle air control valve. And I know it's not ideal to have all the same colored wires, but the wires broke and that's how they were fixed. But this plug, you're going to have 6, and you have a white with black, blue with red, solid black, black with a red line, white wire, and green with a white line. So again, idle air control valve. This will be the same on the other harness as well. Okay, next one is this sweet broken plug here. This guy is your throttle position sensor. If you need to see what the color of the wires are. Okay, there's the top of the connector. And that's what those are right there. Okay, and then you're going to see the harness kind of branch. So if you're kind of looking at the engine, kind of like this harness is going to stay on the driver's side, and this one's going to go up and over the engine to the other side. On this little clump here, You've got, this is for the, I believe, the fan relay. So don't need it if you're running an aftermarket fan. This is going to go to your distributor coil, or the igniter. So this is what, if you're running a distributor, this is where you're going to get the signal that's going to run basically a high tension wire over to your distributor to get the signal. So that's where the differences are between the GE harness and the GTE. This is going to be just some of the other stuff here that you're going to have. This is for your injector resistance, and this guy right here is going to go to your fuse box with some of the other electronics that's running. One thing that I did miss, kind of skipped over, is going to be your grounding wires. So you're going to have two terminals here. This guy right here that's cut, that's what's going to go to your starter. I've done a different modification to where I don't have to use this wire anymore. That's why it's just cut. I just haven't stripped it out of the harness yet. But make sure you get these bolted down tight on a good clean surface, or you'll have some weird issues. My car wasn't starting and I didn't know why. This was loose, tighten it down, car fired right up. So that's going to be the same for the GTE as well. Same exact wires, same grounding wires, everything. So, okay, then running down here, this is kind of the last of the wiring here. So this guy right here is going to go into the distributor, if you have a distributor. This guy right here is going to be a coolant temp sensor, which is going to plug onto this guy right down there. And you're going to have this little connector here, just one single wire, and then you're going to have your oil pressure sensor. That guy right there is for the mass airflow sensor, mass airflow meter, whatever you want to call it. That's for the old one, the flapper style one. And last but not least, your O2 sensor, which is just one wire on the GE. The GTE's got 3. Again, I apologize, guys. You're probably like, you have no freaking clue what you're talking about. I'm only sharing with you the stuff that I've learned since I've been doing this, and I've had to do some digging. I figured I'd do just a quick video to show you guys what each plug goes to, and then the differences between the two harnesses. So if you're like me and you want to put you want to get rid of the distributor. So that's my big thing right now is I don't like the distributor. It's old. I just want to get rid of it. If I can go with a CPS, that's great because that's just a little bit more efficient. And then you can do something like this where I've done the IS300 coils, and I'll show you guys that a little bit more in detail. But I mean, it just cleans the engine bay up so much with getting rid of that distributor. So there's the cam position sensor. It pretty much looks a lot like this big old nasty distributor, but it is different. So you got a rotor here that spins. That's going to send points or send power to each point. That's going to come off the distributor cap and then go to each individual plug. And that's how you get your timing. Where this is done electronically, it gets a signal, comes up to the coil packs, and then it distributes to each spark plug. So again, there's the two side by side. Everything from up to about here is pretty much the same from this harness to this harness. And then you got the 2 versus the 1 knock sensor. The GTE has the 2, GE has the 1. And then coming down here, difference you're going to have is the O2 sensor has 3 wires versus the one on the GE. And then you're going to have these right here, gray, pink with blue, and pink and black. So and then all the injectors are all the same. I know it's kind of a mess, but as I explained it on that one, it's the same here, same colored wires. They're going to be batched. If you're not sure what the batching is, there's tons of documentation on that. I can even look it up and maybe put it in the description for you. So same thing here, broken plug. That's going to be your throttle position sensor, which is going to go in to this guy right here. Okay, then you've got, again, all of your injectors. I'm going to go in and fix all this stuff so it's just nice and clean. And moving down here, you got the 2 plugs for the igniter. There's 2 green plugs. Now, there are 2 different igniters. There's one that has the gray plugs, and then the one that has the green. I took this plug off here because I needed it, but there are 2 different ones. The part numbers are the same, so I don't know the difference. I mean, some of you guys might know and you might say you can't run those. But yeah, if you know, let me know in the comments. Okay, so just like the other one, the GE harness, yellow plug for the fuse box. You can see there's actually a wire missing right there. And you go over here to the GE one, and there's a wire missing there. So again, a lot of this stuff is pretty similar. Okay, and then you're going to have the resistor for the fuel injectors, your diagnostics box. Then here, you're going to have your idle air control valve, again with the wrong wiring on it, which is awesome. This guy is going to go to the cam position sensor. Then you're going to have the same plugs here, same wires. So again, that's going to be like a coolant sensor. The plug's gone. I'm going to run an aftermarket one there, but you can see I just depinned it. And then you're going to have your oil pressure sender right there. And then same thing, there's another wire, which is the same as this guy right here, point right there. And then here is the airflow meter, airflow sensor, and the different plug on that one. Again, guys, I hope you find this somewhat useful, helpful to you. Maybe you'll just pan through it because you're like, you have no idea what the crap you're talking about. If you guys want more information as far as like the injector wiring goes, let me know and I can do like a complete breakdown of it. I'm going to have these wiring harnesses out of the car for a little while. I've got to figure out my tuning stuff. I went to register the car and found out that my special license plate that I have on there still requires emissions. This car is not even close to passing emissions. I know that right now because it's running so rich. It's not that the car is not healthy or anything like that. I've got to do that first, so that's why I pulled the harnesses out, and I'm going to go through and do all this stuff so I can hopefully get it tuned very soon on the ECU masters and get everything running great, and then throw some high flow cats in. Hopefully I can pass the emissions, but we'll see. Like I said, if you guys are wanting like more specifics on the wiring, I'm not a wiring guy. You guys probably figured that out by watching the video. Like, cool, you know your colors, but what does that wire do? I have no idea. I'm hoping that this video just kind of helps you guys identify which plugs go to what, and because there's not a lot of stuff on the YouTube, internet, Facebook, whatever, that won't show you that stuff, that there's just very limited documentation on it. But again, if you're like, what does that plug actually do? Does it send a signal? I have no idea. Like, I'm not a mathematician. I have no idea. So, but if you guys were like, I just don't know how to wire it, what wire goes to what, I don't care what it does, I just need to know where it goes, let me know. Hopefully this video kind of somewhat helps you out a little bit. Okay, and last but not least, some of you guys might be here just for this. So this is the IS300 coil pack mod, I guess you'd call it. So you're going to have, still going to have some coil plugs, but you're going to have 3 coil packs. Then they're going to be jumping, they're going to be going all sorts of which ways. But what you need to do, this is going to be the plug that comes from the factory coil pack on the 7MG GTE. So on here, you're going to have a green wire, you're going to have a brown wire, you're going to have a black wire, and you have a white wire. Hopefully I can get close enough. Yeah, I know that wire's like, it's hanging on for dear life right now, but we'll fix that. Okay, kind of orient yourself here this way. That's where it clips in, so I'm putting that this way. Green, black, white, brown. Okay, and then you're going to follow the wires down. Green is going to go along here, and that's going to go to coil pack number 3. Brown is going to be divided up into 3 different wires. Okay, we're going to trace that one. That one is also going to go to 3, one of them. The other one is going to go here, and that is going to go to 6, the harness on 6. And then the last one, this guy right here, okay, brown, is going to go to coil pack number 2. Okay, black wire. So again, we're this one right here. That one's going to run off here. We're going to trace it down here. It's going to go through here, and that's going to go to coil pack number 6. Okay, so again, black wire right here. Follows down here to 6. White, last but not least, white is going to go inside here, inside this whole mess right here. and then it's going to go to coil pack number 2. It kind of jumps around weird, but if you can see the numbers on here, coil pack, the first one, is going to go on number 2. Coil pack's going to go on number 3, so they're going to have to go this way so they fit. If you run them both whatever way, they're going to run into each other. So you got to run them like this. 6. Then from 6, you're going to have a wire that's going to jump to 1. 2, you're going to have a wire that jumps to 5. 3 to 4. Okay, hopefully you can kind of see it all in there. It's kind of a jumbled mess, but you can figure it out. So there you go. There's wire on number 1, which is the one that goes back to number 6. You got 2, 3, so they've got to go kind of back to back or they won't fit. 3 to 4, 5 to 2, 6 to 1. I actually heard this from people like actually in person. If you run the Lexus MAF, the 550cc injectors, and then you do the Lexus IS300 coil pack conversion, I guess the car runs perfect. But yeah, I haven't done that yet, so I'm just trying to figure out all this wiring stuff, trying to get it all sorted out and working the best way I can. That way when I do the ECU Masters swap over, it'll be somewhat fairly easy, and then I can just start getting rid of wiring that I just don't need. My goal is to just clean everything up, get all nice and just cherry and looking good, and declutter a lot of stuff, and then get this thing back up to where it needs to be. Like I said, I'm not a wiring guy. I have no prior knowledge. I'm not a rocket scientist. I'm trying to figure it out the best I can, and hopefully I can show you guys maybe a thing or two. I know there's some of you guys out there that know way more than I do, and you're probably watching this video just absolutely rolling your eyes like, I don't know why the crap you're even doing this, but hopefully it helps somebody out there with this process. So anyway, I'm kind of blabbering now about stuff that you guys probably don't care that much about. But like I said before in other videos, I appreciate all the likes, comments, the subscribers. You guys are awesome. If you're watching this video for the first time ever, just hit that button. It's easy to just hit it. That subscribe thing, it doesn't cost you any money. You just click it, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, hey, check it out. Jumping Through Hoops just posted a new video. Sweet, gonna check it out. It's all car stuff. But yeah, that being said, keep following me. The weather's been crap here in Utah. It's good. We need it. It's been snowing a bunch. But when it snows, it's not ideal for sports cars. My car got stuck in the snow just backing it out of the garage because it snowed almost a foot. So it's been awesome. So that's why I've been just keep doing garage stuff, because it's the easiest right now. It's pouring rain and it's just horrible outside right now. But hopefully the weather will shape up soon. We've got some good plans coming up in spring. Some of the guys I've been talking to here in Utah, we're going to get together and do some cool car stuff. So again, I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you guys on the next one.